Hi there everyone, Tim Hodges and Cam McConville with the Armour All Summer Grill. We're looking forward to some of the big driver movements in 2017 and one of the biggest is Nick Percat, Cam. You know him really well, having driven with him in the Enduros in 2016. You know where he's going, Brad Jones Racing, exceptionally well. How do you think the two will marry up?
Yeah, very well, I think, Tim, very well. I think it'll suit Nick. He's a very hands-on sort of guy. He's not the kind of race driver that goes and rides his bike and drinks coffee, and not that that's what race drivers do. He likes to be involved at the workshop. He's actually quite a clever engineer in his own right. He's had that open wheeler purist background, so I think he'll have the bit between his teeth. He hasn't done it easy, Nick. I know he won Bathurst and everyone thought, oh, he's on his way. Then he went back to Dunlop Series or Carrera Cup, Dunlop Series. He had to engineer his way, if you like, into a competitive drive. He's done a couple of years at LDM and he has done an amazing job with a small team. Some of the results, Clipsal, Bathurst, but even Homebush being in the top 10 shootout. So, I think he's going to really excel at BJR for 2017.
So Cam, you knew Nick for a long time, but actually driving with him in the Enduros last year with LDM, did he surprise you just how good he is with equipment that we all know isn't the best out there on the grid?
Oh, for sure. And, look, LDM do a really good job with what they have. It's still a 888 chassis, although it's probably the oldest chassis on the grid. But Nick drove the absolute wheels off it. I was like a proud father at Bathurst, the triple stint he did. His lap times were exceptional. He grabbed it by the scruff. He really hustled. He is a quick driver in his own right, absolutely. He's had to engineer his way into a full-time seat. He doesn't have access to copious amounts of money to buy a drive. He's now got some great supporters in Morris Finance and Coates Hire, and I think he's going to stir it up and be in the top 6 at Brad Jones Racing.
So you sound really gung-ho about him. Do you think he'll be winning races in 2017?
Well, Tim Slade's won races. I think BJR, the only issue is that they haven't been able to be quick at every track, in 2016. They had a few lulls. Street circuits, not so good, Gold Coast, but then, Winton, they're very fast. So if they can find a bit more consistency, I've no doubt that Nick's got some race wins in him.
So as you say, Nick will be paired with Tim Slade at Brad Jones Racing this season. A gut feel, 12 months' time, who is the leader in the championship between these two guys at BJR?
Oh, gee, that's a tough one. Tim, I haven't worked with Tim, but I think he's very fast. They're both seriously fit. They take their fitness, extremely seriously. I think it'll be a toss of a coin. I think Nick will have to learn the engineering characteristics of the car, that's for sure. Learn the crew, but I would probably back Nick because I know him a bit more. But I think it'll be a great little battle between those two teammates.
We got an answer eventually. It's going to be one of the great things to look forward to in the 2017 V8 Supercar season. The BJR progress with Nick Percat joining Tim Slade and Tim Blanchard.
Nick, 2 years now at LDM, farewelling the team and then going off to BJR. It's been tough for you down here. What have you taken out of the last 2 years?
For me, the last 2 years, it's been obviously a bit of a roller coaster. Two outstanding results being Bathurst podium, Clipsal 500 win. They were obviously huge highlights for us as a whole group, and for me especially to win my first supercar race in front of my home crowd at Clipsal 500 on the Sunday was unbelievable. But a lot of the stuff I take away, I think I'm driving the car as good as ever. I've been obviously quite competitive against teammates that have come along in the last 2 years, and a lot of stuff off track I've probably improved on, and I feel like I've been quite helpful for the crew here. They're quite young. And I haven't been in the championship that long, but they've been able to learn a bit from me. And I just think the way I control my emotions off track has been quite good. And a few people have been obviously waiting for a pretty big explosion down here because I was known for having a pretty hot head. But I think that's something I've really started to get on top of, and still work to come. And that's something that myself and Brad have spoken about for next year. So that's probably my biggest probably thing I've ticked off being at LDM.
You have had a really up and down road the entire time since probably the 2011 Bathurst win, going in and out of Carrera Cup and DVS and main series. Now at Brad's, do you feel this is your chance to really lay down your marker, and the next year or so is going to define the career?
Yeah, definitely. 2014, my first year in the championship, I would say I had as good a year of what McLaughlin and Chaz had in their first year, but obviously things didn't work out with a partner of mine, James Rosenberg, and the relationship with Walkinshaw, so it landed me here at LDM. But it has been up and down. Even last 2 years, the results have been very sporadic, and but the thing I always rest my morals on is I've won in every single category. Won in Formula Ford against the likes of Chaz, Stanaway, Pye, all those guys, one in DVS, one in Porsche against Beardo and all those guys without really testing the car at all, and then obviously had podiums in the Supercar and ran at the front in 2014. So yeah, going to Brad's, it is a big step up, obviously, and it's something where I want to get back to the form we had in that mid to late 2014, where I felt like I was driving quite well, as competitive as, say, my teammates with JC, and at the right end of the grid, and that's what I'm here to do, and that's where I want to be for the next few years with Brad.
Obviously, over the off-season, over Christmas, you can talk to all the boys down at BJR, talk to Brad, all of that, but you probably don't get to steer the car until February, quite close to Clipsal. Do you find yourself eyeball engineering their cars and sort of really trying to work out how you're going to be driving them, or do you just not think about that until you jump in and have a skid?
Thankfully for me, I'm really quite good friends with Fabian Coulthard, and when in 2014 when he was at BJR and I was at Walkinshaw, we used to live close to each other and catch up for breakfast and stuff, and just talk random stuff about the race cars, and you'd pick up on little things about what their car did. And my relationship with Brad and all the crew there is already started off quite strong, and I've got a little bits of information from them before we even get to Christmas about how their car handles certain characteristics. So for me, even though you can't test until Feb, I am one that spends a lot of time at the workshop. I'm quite, I won't be hands-on obviously, but I like to know what's in the car, how they're set up, and you generally get a rough idea of how they're handling. And to be honest, I've probably been watching their cars, the way they go around the corner, since Clipsal, because I've wanted to drive for Brad all year, and we finally got to ink a deal later this year. So I probably, without really realising, been watching the way their cars handle them, the way they drive them. So I think hopefully what they've learnt with Slatey being a new driver, that I'll be able to hit the ground running come Clipsal 500.
So did you have other options for next year? The writing was seemingly on the wall all the time that you were going to Brad's, and you've been quite loyal to Holden the whole time. There was probably an opportunity for you to do some other stuff for this year if you'd wanted to really play it hard. Was it always BJR?
To be honest, it's been BJR for probably, that sounds a bit weird, since nearly obviously 2013 time. I've spoken to Brad for a long time. It was never anything formal sit down, but it was always something where he'd wanted me to come drive for him, and I've always wanted to drive for him as well. And I think it's what I see from the outside, the culture there, the results they got for Fabian, the way they treated Fabian and now Slatey. Obviously I've been quite close with both of them through the Walkinshaw period, and I think for me it's someone I've always wanted to drive for. I think he prepares really good cars, a loyal team, and just an honest guy that between him, Kim and the guys there, they just want fast cars, and that's what I'm about. And I'm really looking forward to it. And there was definitely other offers on the table. I could have went back to Clayton, I could have went to a few other places, but I was pretty set on going to Brad's, and we made sure it worked.
Each week, Armour All will be giving away the Ultimate Summer Essentials Pack.
The pack comprises a range of products to keep your car cool and clean this summer.
The pack includes Armour All Wash and Wax Pro Glide, Armour All Sponge, Armour All Protectant, Armour All Air Fresheners, Armour All Cream Cut and Polish, Armour All Windscreen Wash, and Armour All Glass Wipes. You'll also win an Armour All Bucket Esky to keep you cool this summer.
To enter the draw, all you have to do is click on the link in the description below and fill in your details. It's that easy.
We'll see you tomorrow for another episode of the Armour All Summer Grill.
Armour All now make a great range of wipes with a smart seal lid. So this particular line of products here, if you pop the lid off, the first thing you'll notice is that they're sealed. So everything inside there, those wipes stay nice and moist. However, don't you hate when you leave the lid off? It happens to us all, and you go to use them next time and they've dried out. Well, no longer with this smart seal lid. So what happens now, after you've used your wipes, you can simply turn it around like that, seals it up, and they'll be moist next time you want to use them. Wipes are a convenient way to clean or touch up your car, and a great initiative by Armour All.